All right, on the bench today, the E-flite 1.5 meter P-51D Mustang. And we are going to go ahead and put this thing together. And I got to tell you already, this is not a small airplane by any means. Look at this. Look at the size of this thing. I actually had to take the camera and zoom it out a little bit so you can actually see everything. So I have the manual here that comes in the model. It's just kind of set off to the side. I have all the pieces and parts behind me sitting on the couch. And let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put this aircraft together, shall we? The very first thing to do is install the horizontal stabulator. I have that sitting right here. And like I mentioned before, I like to kind of cycle these just a few times just to kind of work that hinge in a little bit before I go ahead and install it. So let's go ahead and put this in. Remember the control horn portion of this goes on the bottom. Slip this in. Goes in really nice and easy. That's a nice fit on that for sure. Here we go. And that is held in with, I think, three actual screws. Let's go ahead and flip this thing over, shall we? So we got 3 screws to go in. Put that thing down. We've got a bag of hardware here, so let's go ahead. And I'll tell you, the screws look a lot like the 1.2 meter P-51, so if you put that one together, this is just simply a bigger version of what you're already used to. So we drop these things in. It goes in the tail wheel. I was like, I'm only seeing two holes here, but there are actual 3. So let's go ahead and drop these down in there, shall we? We've got 3 to hold in the horizontal stab. And it takes an Allen key, just like the 1.2 meter P-51 and Corsair use. All right, once you got all 3 of the screws tightened, you'll be able to install the main section of the wing. Just to let you know, if you're using an Allen key system like this, this is not quite long enough to reach the bottom of the screws there, so you're going to want to make sure you use something a little bit better than this. So just an FYI as you guys start putting yours together. So let me go ahead and grab the main section of the wing here. And what's awesome is there's no wires to like funnel through here. It actually plugs right in. There's a I can actually show you here. Right on the bottom of the radiator scoop there, right here is the plugs for everything. So you don't even have to wire anything up. How awesome is that? They make, I tell you what, it seems like every time I get one of these Horizon models, they just keep upping the ante of all the cool stuff that they put into it to help it assemble, disassemble, make it ready for the field, make it easier for us as owners. And that's a pretty cool feature. So let me grab the wing section. Here we go. Here is the main wing section. It's got the my favorite feature, the sequenced gear doors, and the flaps are already installed. So it's going to be a little bit of a snug fit here. So let me just kind of move around to get this thing into place. All right, easy enough. That just drops right in. Just a little tip there. You don't want to have the you want to make sure you get those plugs put in first before you drop the leading edge in here. So you want to put the trailing in first, make sure you get the plugs in, and then this will drop straight in. It's actually really nice and easy. We got 4 screws for this. I am going to turn it my way a little bit because it's getting a little big here, a little tough to work on. So let me see if I can get these dropped in here. There we go. And Allen key, run these things down. All right, so once you have the 4 screws in, it takes a 5/64 Allen key. It's best to use a longer one rather than a short one like I had. And go ahead and install the outer wing panels now. All right, and these just simply snap into place very easily. And next up is connecting the elevator control rod here, and that simply slides in. It's on the opposite side here, so you really can't see it, but it just slides onto the control horn and then pops into place on the control horn of the elevator. It's real easy to do. Here we go. And with that, we'll go ahead and flip the aircraft over. Next up is the aerial mast, so we'll go ahead and install that. Now I will actually glue that into place when I'm done. I'm probably going to do some additional modeling to the aircraft, so I'm just going to leave it loose for right now. But you'll want to glue that in long term. Okay. Next up. All right. Next up is actually to install and to build the prop. So we're just going to go ahead and move this out of the way, which is easier said than done with an airplane of that size. It is quite large. Let's go ahead and get the prop out here. One thing I really love about this 1.5 meter Mustang is how correct the prop looks. The 1.2 meter Mustang, the prop looks a little small to be scale, but this one looks much more accurate. It's still not as big as, you know, the actual P-51 would be if this was 100% scale correct, but this is a lot bigger, or a lot closer at least to being scale correct. Let's go ahead and just put these together. Now, of course, with big props come big torque. So that's one thing to be aware of with the 1.5 meter P-51 is that there's a significant increase in torque, which can definitely catch people out on takeoff. You're going to need to be very proficient with the use of the rudder, as well as being able to apply rudder, control the elevator, and throttle all simultaneously to make sure that you keep the tail pinned, you keep the thing going straight. You build enough airspeed in order to get the tail up in the air, and then continually build airspeed until it's ready for takeoff. So you want to make sure that before you start flying this, that you are proficient at flying warbirds. Okay, we got some hardware here. If I remember correctly, I think there's little hexes on the back of the spinner here that the lock nuts go into. And they're nylock nuts, so they don't have to really worry about them working their way loose. You can see there's little hex recesses inside the back of the spinner here. There are 2 per prop blade. Go ahead and put those in. Which is great about this is it's going to be a single Allen wrench to assemble this entire 1.5 meter Mustang. Looks like my little assistant is over there jumping in and out of the box. Yeah, I think one of the hardest things is probably just going to be to keep all these in there as we tighten up the nuts here, or the fasteners here. See if I can. Nope, didn't think that was going to work. It was worth a shot. I thought maybe I could hold my hand under there and flip it over, but that didn't work. So let's go ahead and just try something a little different here. All right, so we have put the screws in first, and then we're going to drop the nuts in from the back side. Make sure that the nylock portion of that is pointed upward. If you're doing it in this configuration, you want to make sure the nylock is pointed upward, and you don't want to lose the screw. This is probably the most difficult part of the entire assembly process, is just this many fasteners at one time, but so this is not a very difficult airplane to assemble by any means. Okay, I'm just going to snug a couple of these up here to start with, and then I'll flip it over once I got them all started. Just enough to engage a few threads in here is all I'm looking to do right now. Okay, and just kind of work our way around the prop and tighten these things up. Just a few. That way when I turn the airplane back over again, all the nuts don't come falling back out again, or not the airplane, or at least the spinner assembly here. Okay, just 2 more to go. Okay, whoop, dropped one of them out there. We didn't get that one fully snugged in there, so we go ahead and turn that back over and get that one again, shall we? Okay, let me just go through and we're just going to tighten up the screws here. There we go. So we have that assembled. Now we're going to go ahead and bring the airplane back up here and go ahead and install the prop and spinner. For this we will need an open end wrench. Alright, so we brought the airplane back up here, and for this you really want to use an open end wrench. I'm just using a pair of pliers to put the prop on for right now. The reason is that I'm probably taking this all back apart later for probably some detail work, so I'm not going to go too crazy on the assembly, but you'll want to use an open end wrench. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers. You want to line the hex up, install the washer. Okay, go ahead and put the nut on. Like I said, you're going to want to use an open end wrench on this, not a pair of pliers, but for right now this will do. We're just simply putting it on here so we can assemble the airplane. We are not flying it in this configuration. We're simply just assembling it probably for pictures. Okay, we'll go ahead and put the spinner on. And one final screw for that. And we can go ahead and put the drop tanks on as well. And these slide on just as they do with the 1.2 meter. And there you have it. Wow. Super easy to assemble this airplane. This might be actually the easiest airplane I think I've ever assembled, besides like a UMX you just get out of the box. Most difficult thing was just the props, and that's really not that difficult. It just was time consuming to put all the little fasteners in. There are more fasteners involved in the prop, I think, than anything else in the airplane. It's really amazing how easily this thing goes together. Everything is well put together, well designed. Really the next step for me is to go ahead and bind the airplane up and load the landing gear and make sure, just run it through a system, make sure everything works. Obviously I'm going to have some work to do because I got the rear retract down and the mains are up. So be advised, when you go to bind the aircraft, you're going to have them in altering. They're going to be altering at this point. So we're going to need to take care of that. I'm going to need to retract the tail wheel, and then I have all of them retracted, then I can set them back down again. So there's a Y harness inside here that I'll have to disconnect so that I make sure that I get that done properly. But otherwise, wow, the airplane is much bigger than I thought, especially once you get here on the workbench, but it goes together so stinking easy. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I am impressed. Once you see it on the table here, it's pretty cool. There is no doubt about it. It's a beautiful airplane, and I gotta say, once again, how really impressed I am with the foam finish on this. It really might be the best foam finish I've seen on an E-flite plane. It's absolutely awesome. Very cool airplane indeed. Everything is well put together, well detailed. I'm super excited for it. Of course, I highly doubt I'll be leaving it stock for long. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do with it. There is talk about changing the scheme to the U.S. military correct scheme, which would be some sort of shades of green on here. However, I look at it in the blue, and I'm thinking it looks totally cool in the blue as well. But I think the cockpit's got some room for from scale details, and of course some scale painting, weathering, and just some of the general stuff that I always do, and maybe some calligraphics for the placards and stuff that go around the airplane. But when you get it out of the box and you get it on the workbench here, I have to say this thing is absolutely gorgeous, and it is a stunning airplane by all accounts, no doubt about it. So if you're interested in one of these, by all means, I wouldn't hesitate picking one up. This plane is for sure a winner, and if you're a Mustang fan, this thing is a must-have in your hangar. It is by all accounts totally cool. So if you guys get any questions, by all means, leave them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. As always, subscribe if you guys like what you're seeing here, and I'll keep up the work, and we'll see where this thing takes us next. But if you guys want to see me leave it blue, or do you guys want to see me leave it green, just leave your comments below. I'm going to kind of get a little bit of a feel for what people are asking for on this one and follow suit. I know that the military colors tend to be more of my favorite than the restoration colors, but I'm going to kind of leave this one open right now to just kind of hear what you guys say. This is not an airplane I look at and say it needs a repaint right away. When I looked at my 1.2 meter Corsair, I had to repaint it right away. I didn't care for my 1.2 meter P-51 Mustang scheme. That was a repaint right away. I do like this paint scheme, and so I'm not really in a hurry to change it. So I want to hear what you guys have to say, so by all means, leave your comments below. I'm anxious to hear about it. So this wraps up the assembly of the E-flite P-51D 1.5 meter Mustang.